Welcome to another Debt Matters podcast, where we help Canadians find solutions to their debt with licensed insolvency trustees from across Canada. Now, I'm Wayne Kay, and in today's show, we're going to talk about something that's super important for this time of year, celebrating the holidays without breaking the bank. My guest today is Mark Marshall from Allen Marshall & Associates, licensed insolvency trustee with offices in Alberta, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. Mark, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's a perfect time to be chatting about finances as we're heading into the happy time of year. And I'm going to use quotes on that because I think there's more stress for Canadians than happiness right now.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. I mean, I was actually out Christmas shopping today just to pick up a couple items for my kids. My kids are young, so just picking up a few little things. And, people are scrambling around. They're scrambling around the stores, and you can tell they're just buying for the sake of buying.
Mm-hmm. And that's the worst because a lot of Canadians are crunched right now, but the thought of them telling their families that, listen, we've got to really cut back on the gift giving, they just can't do it.
No, it's hard. There was a girl I was standing in line when I was making my purchase, and she was going through her basket. And she said, "This is for my brother. This is for my mother. This is for my nephew. This is for my." And I just thought, my soul, that's crazy. I mean, I try to, on our side of things here with my family, like my wife has got a large family, and you got to figure it away. Like you can't get into purchasing presents for every relative and every next of kin. You're gonna blow the bank.
Well, absolutely. So, I mean, that's a good point, though. As somebody who works with money and works with people who are having a hard time with money, you look at this Christmas season, and what do you think?
Well, I see people come in for counseling, financial counseling, and Christmas stresses them out. I mean, they feel the pressure. They want to buy stuff. Like it's almost like it's inbred in them. They want to spend. They want to make sure they have a gift. And I just try to reiterate to them that it's Christmas really and truly is one day, and oftentimes you'll stress and you'll worry and you'll pick something up and something that they may need or may not need, and there's a strong likelihood that they're probably not even going to know what you got them last year, 2 days after, 2 days after Christmas, what you got them at all. So you have to take those things into consideration and kind of work within your means. And, sometimes your presence is the present, right? Being available, because most people, myself, I know others, the holidays are about just getting together with family and seeing people. And I try to kind of instill that in people and try and keep them, clients of mine that are coming in away from the stressing over the consumerism side of it.
Yeah. I remember when I was growing up, when we go to my grandparents' house, and it was just a great time for the whole family to be together. And I would make up silly songs, Christmas songs, on the guitar, and the kids would kind of have fun with that. And that was the best part. I could not tell you right now, I could not remember one gift I ever received. But I'm sure exactly it did, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you received some gifts, but
guaranteed.
I mean, the thing that most people kind of fail to recognize is that it's, Christmas is a time of getting together and socializing, and there's ways you can do that. I mean, what we'll do is, instead of buying for the nephews and the nieces and the brothers and because most people, if they need something, if they can afford it, they'll get it. And so you got to kind of sometimes step back and say, do I just keep buying stuff and put myself further in debt? And a Yankee swap is a perfect way to handle like a large group of people. Is that you spend, maybe put a $10 limit or a $20 limit on something. You buy one gift and you wrap it up, and you start the game, and it's a great time. It's a time to laugh, and people are taking gifts from each other, and there's one gift for everybody, and that's all you need. And that's a perfect way to kind of to enjoy the season, provide a gift and get a gift in return without going crazy.
Yeah. There's also this program called Elfster, which I'd never heard of before. I just heard about it last week. And everybody kind of puts what they kind of want for a gift. And then it picks out, you get Secret Santa, and you get to buy one gift for that person.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I never heard of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. And, when you got large families, I love that idea. Also, you know what I did this year? I said, because I don't like my kids spending money on dad, because, we do this show, so we have to be fiscally responsible, Mark.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so I
true.
I asked for books from everyone, And I want to know why they thought the book was a good one for Dad. That'll be our Christmas discussion.
So Wayne, like the book is a perfect gift that you can receive that you can again re-gift, right? So I mean, when you've taken the time and you've read the book, and if it's a book that you know that you've enjoyed and other people will enjoy, again, that's something that you can kind of pass out again at Christmas time or, birthday or another time, right? It's something that you can, because sometimes some people like to hold on to their books. Some people read them and they want to move on.
Yeah. Pass them along. I've got some stats for you, Mark, that I don't know if they're going to surprise you, but I'm going to throw these at you. And Mark has not seen any of these stats. 43% of Canadians plan to spend less this Christmas. I think that's pretty fair, wouldn't you say?
That's a surprising stat for me because I find most people just get caught up in it and they
really?
and they go and they spend. Yeah. But so no, that's an encouraging stat. And it probably has a lot to do with just the price of everything, right? So if things are creeping up, interest rates are creeping up and people are kind of peeling back. So that's important. It's a good stat. I'm glad to hear that.
39% are hoping for cash as a gift so that they can then help pay down some of their debts.
Hey, I mean, that,
I thought that was interesting.
Just if you're gonna get a gift, well, cash. Why not cash, right?
But this is the one you're not going to like. 35% plan to pay for holiday expenses, taking on more debt. And I'm going to give you some of these final numbers. 13% will carry a credit card balance, which I find low. I thought it would be a lot higher than that. 6% will use buy now, pay later. And 5% will just skip looking at the bills altogether. Another 5% will borrow from family and friends. And 3% plan on using a payday or cash advance loan.
Yeah, crazy. Those are staggering a little bit because, I mean, look, it's one of those things is if you have small children, yes, you need to provide some form of a Christmas for them. There has to be some kind of Christmas under the tree. But again, depending on your circumstances, there's organizations and associations in everybody's community that they can rely on if they need to. And if you're to the point where you're trying to decide as to whether or not to put food on the table, or put a present under the tree, well, you should be looking to kind of tap those organizations, whether it's your church or the local Salvation Army or something along those lines, because again, we're fortunate, lucky as Canadians to have access to those types of programs and systems, and those that need them, should take advantage of it because, going farther in debt or taking a payday loan, I mean, the interest on that, that interest that you're going to pay for that honestly, that 10 minutes of excitement that's going to happen underneath the tree, it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. And, you do have to provide some excitement for the kids of that age, but there's ways that you can kind of access gifts without, borrowing money from a payday loan, for example. And
you just find the right gift for the child that will mean something to them. I mean, that's really the secret. You don't have to spend $100 per child and per spouse. There's no written rules there.
No, that's right. You like you say, it's a matter of kind of what's going to spark them. And again, that spark's going to be for 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. It's going to be for 10 minutes, that level of excitement. So you have to kind of put things in perspective. And, one nice gift that's not going to blow the bank and not require you to get a payday loan, that's the way to go. Yeah. That's the way to go. And again, it's one of those things you can look and use places. My son at one point in time was so into, after the Minion movies, those little Minion toys. Yeah. And, I went to Value Village and I could buy bags of them for $5. And it's because they're accessible. So you can go find, there's thrift stores and there's places that you can find stuff, to again, put a little bit of excitement under the tree.
Mm-hmm. So we got lots of different ideas here, but I think it's a lot of pressure just from maybe thinking about family members. Now, we can't compare each family member. When you mentioned, nieces and nephews and brothers, you never know what their situation is opposed to somebody else's family. And to start buying for everybody, I dread the thought of having grandchildren one day. I figure it's going to cost me way too much.
Yes. But the key is communication though, right? Communicate with your family. communicate. So, like in my family, I get a hold of my brothers and I get a hold of their wives, and I talk to them and I say, look, here's what's going to go on. We're not buying presents for everybody. We're not buying, so we'll say we're going to have Yankee swap and we're going to do it on Christmas Eve. Or, there's maybe, a couple nieces and nephews that are young, and we'll say, like similar to your situation, we'll buy a book exchange between them.
Mm-hmm.
So again, instead of blowing the bank and thinking you got to provide a Christmas gift to every relative that's coming through the door, quail the expectations by making some calls and communicate with them and say, look, I'm not expecting you to buy me anything, and really, I'm not going to buy you anything, but come to my house and have a nice meal.
Yeah. Or I also love this for gifts. I love when people will bake for you or cook a spaghetti sauce or anything at all like that they've taken time to do. I don't know why, it just totally impresses me and touches me. I go, that's a great gift. And I think, because they took the time to make this pizza or whatever it is.
That's right. Yeah. And again, it's a cost effective way, because there's a strong chance that you're going to be making, if it's a spaghetti sauce, you're making one for yourself that night. And so you make a little bit extra and you bottle it up, or maybe it's a salsa or something along those lines. It's something that's affordable. And again, there's the thought behind it. But again, it doesn't have to be, the 75-inch plasma TV. You've got to be smart about what you're doing, because you don't want to roll into the new year in January, like you say, and have huge credit card bills for one day of glory.
Right. By the way, I don't think they make plasmas anymore.
No? Okay. Okay.
Which proves right there, you're not spending in the wrong spots. Good on you, Mark. No, it's all LED now.
Okay.
So
that's good, because I haven't bought a new TV in a long time.
Yeah, well, that just proved it right there. It was like, those plasmas, those were like 7-8 years ago. I think those were pretty popular. So that's always good. I love it because, we're trying to help Canadians that are in these situations. We want them to feel like you can still have Christmas, but we want you to be just conscious of spending, because there's nothing better than not having that huge credit card bill come December 20th.
Yeah, it's the best feeling is when you get that credit card statement in the new year and there's little to nothing on it, or if you've gone out and you've purchased something, if you've taken the money and you use your credit card, but you take the money and you set it aside so that you know that you got the ability to cover that when it comes, and it's not a big whopper of a bill that you can't handle.
Here's another idea. What about buying stuff throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will do that, and it depends on how. I guess it depends on how financially responsible you are, whether or not you're setting budgets for yourself and you're kind of saying to yourself, here's what I'm going to try and do through the year. Because I know some families, they'll have a target for per child or per family member, and they'll say, this is how much money we're setting aside, and they will start in January and they'll start to put those funds away. And like you say, all of a sudden, hey, they're picking things up for sale, on Boxing Day. There's things that you're picking up for the following year along the way. And then you're getting the best deal. There's a family that I know in the area that they've got 3 teenage girls that they're all, in their late teens, like close to 19, 18, 17. They spend no money at Christmas time. And then what they do, they have their budget. After Christmas, they have a meal. And then the Boxing Day sales is when they take their allotted budget, and those girls go out and buy all the clothes that they can within their budget.
Wow.
And that's their Christmas, but they get the deals, right? Because everything's on sale, everything's marked down. Again, it takes the luster of the Christmas experience is kind of gone, but again, like if they're getting together with their family and having a meal, they're not worried about what's under the tree. They're still getting what they want, but they're approaching it from a very financially fiscal way, really doing that.
I don't think my kids want me picking out their clothes, so I agree with that. That would be a perfect idea.
Let them do it themselves. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Dad's choices might not be theirs. Okay, so that's great advice. I remember I was in a mall down in America, actually, and I overheard this gentleman. I think it was in January, and he was talking about how he'd put $5,000 of spending on his credit card, and he was talking to his friend, just worried about how he was going to pay that off, because he said he had so many grandchildren and stuff. And That was years ago, and I still remember this guy being so devastated that he'd spent so much money.
Yeah, and it's easy to get caught up in it. And it's, some people, they like come December 1st, they just, all they care about is making sure that there's presents under the tree and that there's gifts and in doing that year after year, and you might be able to get away with doing it, but if you're doing it year after year after year, it's eventually going to catch up with you. And again, I think that's where communication with the family kind of has to come into play, because if you have family members that are expecting, they expect, oh, Grampy gives us this huge gift every year. Well, they're going to expect it. And I think that, and it's difficult if you've been that individual that's provided that huge gift or that big present every year, all of a sudden you're just not going to provide anything. But again, you gotta communicate and just talk to the family and say, hey, look, it's just not here this year. Yeah. And do the best you can, but you don't need the like $5,000 in credit card for Christmas. That's crippling.
Yeah, it stresses me out even. That's horrible. Any final words of advice you have for us getting through the holiday season affordably?
All I would just say is just remember that it is one day. And so, don't get caught up spending all kinds of money for what turns into 10 minutes of excitement, because, that 10 minutes of excitement can be done in a cost-effective way, a Yankee swap, or like I say, a used book, just something that a child or maybe a sibling or somebody will want that's affordable, one gift. And don't look at blowing the bank, because you'll blow the bank and you're excited with everybody else for 10 minutes. But then, 30 days from then when you get your credit card statement, it's not a lot of fun. And so, just keep that in mind.
Yes. Mark, thank you very much for being on the show. It's always a pleasure. Happy holidays to you and your family.
Okay, same to you. Thank you, Wayne.
To learn more or to schedule a free consultation with the team at Allen Marshall & Associates, licensed insolvency trustees, you can go to their website, wecanhelp.ca. wecanhelp.ca. And that is it for another edition of the Debt Matters podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast from. And of course, for more information, you can always check out debtmatters.ca. Thanks for listening.